Hi, I'm Jason Wynn, and the book that I read for our literature circle was Woods Runner by Gary Paulson. This book tells the story of a boy named Samuel and his family. They lived deep in the woods. One day Samuel was out hunting when he saw smoke off in the distance. The smoke was coming from the direction of the settlement where he and his family lived on. So Samuel quickly returned to the settlement to find it completely burned, and the people who lived there were dead. Samuel frantically searched for his mother and father, but they were nowhere to be found. Samuel began burying the bodies of the dead while he contemplated his next move. Since Samuel could not locate his mother and father, he assumed that they were still alive. So Samuel set out to look for his mother and father. He found tracks from people who lived on the settlement and also the people who took them, and horse tracks in the dirt as well, and assumed that they were from his mother and father and the people who took them. So Samuel followed the path for several days when he came upon another settlement that had also been destroyed. Samuel located a man who was alive at that settlement, and he learned that the British had been responsible for these attacks. Samuel was upset, so he continued along searching for his mother and father while also being careful not to be captured. As Samuel was walking, he caught up to the people who took his family captive. The group of people were a combination of British soldiers and Native Americans. Samuel attempted to shoot at one of the Native Americans when he was approached from behind by two other Native Americans. One of the Native Americans attempted to shoot Samuel but only grazed his cheek. Samuel quickly fired at one of the Native Americans and killed him. The other Native American struck Samuel in the head with a tomahawk. It took Samuel 7 days to wake up from the attack. Samuel was taken up by rebel fighters who helped bandage him up and take care of him. Once Samuel was well enough to continue on, he left the rebels to search for his mother and father. As Samuel walked, he came upon a farm. At that farm, he met a girl named Annie, and then her family invited Samuel to have dinner with them. Samuel learned that his mother and father had been at the farm with the British a few days before he arrived. The British had stopped there, and Annie's family took care of them. Samuel learned that his mother and father were heading to New York. After Samuel left the farm, he heard shots from the direction of where he left, and the farm was being attacked by the British. Samuel quickly went back to the farm and found Annie fleeing into the woods. And a note here, it talks about the British. The British also traveled with Hessians, and some of the British were good. That's why the farm wasn't burned down the first time the British came. But when the Hessians came with the British the second time, they destroyed the farm. And Annie's mother and father were killed during this time, leaving Annie on her own. So Samuel decided to take Annie with him as he continued searching for his mother and father. As Samuel and Annie walked, they came upon a man named Abner. Abner invited Samuel and Annie into his wagon. And Samuel was a little worried at first about Abner because he was trying to hide from people because he didn't know who was good or bad. But he quickly gained Abner's trust after they were approached by some British soldiers, and Abner basically covered for them and said that Samuel and Annie were his grandchildren. So also during that time, Samuel learned that Abner was a spy who was pretending to be a salesman traveling between New York and Philadelphia. Abner volunteered to take Annie and Samuel to New York to locate Samuel's mother and father. Abner, Samuel, and Annie all arrived in New York, and Abner helped Samuel come up with a plan to find his parents. He knew that most of the prisoners were being held in an old sugar mill, so Samuel and Abner went into the city to find the mill. While they were in the city, Samuel found his mother, who was working for a family just down the street from the mill. Samuel and Abner learned that Samuel's father was in the old sugar mill, and Samuel's mother told them that there were only 2 guards who were guarding the mill. So Samuel and Abner came up with a plan to get Samuel's father out of the prison. They waited until night and attacked the guards working at the prison door, helping Samuel's father escape. Samuel, his mother, his father, and Abner all got out of New York safely. Abner explained that it was not safe for them to stay together anymore, so they split up. Samuel's mother and father took Annie in as their own daughter, and they all traveled to Philadelphia and made it there safely.